talk about today is habits, okay? And in particular, what I want to talk about in terms of habits are, what are they? But more importantly, how can we make sure new habits stick, right? We've got habits that have been with us for years and decades. We've got no problem doing those, good ones and bad ones. But if we're unhappy, how do we change? How do we make good habits stick around longer? And I think that's something that pretty much everybody would love to know, even if you've got good habits or don't. We'd always love a little bit of extra help understanding how to make them stick around for longer, okay? So first things first, let's talk about exactly what a habit is, so we're all on the same page, okay? So a habit is a redundant, unconscious act, thought, or behavior that is repeated, okay? So it's an unconscious thing that we repeat, and that is fairly simple and easy for us to repeat, pretty mindless for us to repeat, pretty effortless, okay? And in layman's terms, basically, it's, your body is better at doing it than your mind. That's a habit. Your body is better at it than your mind is, right? Because a habit you can do without your mind's permission. You can do it without even know you're doing it, right? So it's a habit, and what we're all trying to aspire is where your body becomes better at it than your mind. That's how automatic it becomes, right? Does that make sense so far? We all want to make a healthy choice without even thinking about it, without having to battle with it, without having to remember, without feeling guilty for making a bad one, right? So we want to be able to get to a point and practice enough times where we've trained our body to be so good at it, our mind doesn't even really get involved consciously. Does that make sense? It's pretty cool when you put it that way, right? It's pretty simple. We definitely all want that. So how do we get there? Okay, so first thing I want you ladies to recognize is this, okay? Can we agree that your brain is pretty much a record and a blueprint of your past, of your entire life up to this point? How you think, how you act, how you view and perceive everything in this world is based on your life so far. Make sense? So your brain works based on everything life has thrown at it so far, right? So that would mean your brain is a record of your past. It's a record of your past. So here's the interesting thing. If that's the truth, if that's true, then the second you wake up in the morning and start thinking about what needs to get done or what you want to do, where you need to go, you're already thinking in the past, right? The logical connection's there, right? The way that we think is based on the past. So the second we wake up in the morning is thinking in the past, how we process, how we view what's a threat, what's not a threat, what we should do, the solutions we come with. It's thinking in our brain. Everything's coming from our current brain, which was developed through past experiences, right? So who thinks that their thoughts, okay, who believes that thoughts can have some control over your destiny? Whether you're like, yes, how you think is everything and they have all the power, or whether you're like, no, a good positive thought could put you in a good mood. Who believes that, thoughts have the power to completely change your destiny, right? So if you believe that is true, if you believe that to be true, that thoughts have some type of power, what you do up here can change out here, internally can project externally. If you believe that, then here's the thing. You cannot think greater than you feel. You can't think greater than you feel. And what I mean by this, ladies, is stick with me here. What we feel is an emotion, right? And emotions are triggered by memories and past experiences, right? The only reason we feel certain ways in present and future situations is because those situations, our body says, oh, we've been in that before, and this is how you felt, so you should feel this way now. Make sense? Right? So your present moment and future situations trigger an emotion purely based on past experience and your memory, right? Hence why our brain is a record of our past. So if this is all making sense, and this is all true up until this point, ladies, just like I said, you will not be able to think greater than you feel, because you've already built these automatic emotional responses to every single thing that is going to happen to you in the future. Everything. Your body and your brain has already predetermined how you'll react and respond to different things emotionally. And it only knows that because it goes back into the memory bank. Oh, okay, we'll do that. Right? Oh, okay, we'll do that. So it has nothing to draw from to change. Is that clear? Your brain has nothing to draw from to create change, to change an emotional reaction, to change a behavior acting out. It has nothing to draw from, because all it has been determined by so far is everything that's happened in the past. So it will always look to the past to determine a solution or a reaction or an action or a thought or a new behavior or how to follow through after a habit, right? So, and that's so true that there's actually one of the statistics out there is by the time you're 35 years old, you are basically a computer program. You are who you are by the time you were 35. Your body is so efficient subconsciously that you are working like a computer program. You have so many loops going on and so many things triggering so many different things repetitively and consistently. You are literally a computer. And we think we are changing and acting different, but really we're still working within that computer program. Are we following along so far, ladies? So we've determined that habits are unconscious things. They're things that our body is better at than our mind. So they're things where we can actually check out mentally to perform because they're so repetitive or they're so used to us. The brain is your record of your past, so it's only going to ever draw from your past to create your future. And if you draw from your past to create your future, you just create your past again, right? We're building this again. And by the time you're 35, you're a computer program, okay? So then up until this point, ladies, you're like, okay, so if my brain's not going to be the thing that helps me change, like what do we do here, right? Like if I can't actually produce a solution or create a new habit and stick to it, or respond to things different, which would mean you're a different person because we all want to change in some way there. What do I do, right? So here's the gap, okay? Here's the gap, ladies. So you guys are all elevated enough to want change, right? Change is a good thing, right? We want to get smarter. We want to get leaner. We want a better career. We want to be able to love more. Like we all want these changes, right? You could be better. Things could be better. So consciously, you do want change. Your mind wants change, right? We want new habits, okay? But unconsciously, your body is working that computer program in the background, okay? So your body is this computer program. Although you desperately consciously want to make changes, okay, your body views those changes and those thoughts as a virus to that computer program. That is literally why, if you've ever fallen off anything, whether it's weight loss or not, if you've ever fallen off sticking to something, it is literally because you are a computer program. That new change is a virus and your body works overtime to purge it. Get rid of change, get rid of uncomfortable, get rid of unknown, does not compute, slows down my programming, makes me feel unsafe. So you're literally working against a computer program. How crazy is that? So these new good things that you want are actually viruses to your body, right? Your body is not better at them than your mind at that point, right? And in order for these good things and changes to become permanent, they need to transform into an actual habit that can be sustained, right? And at that point, the body is better at it than the mind. But in the beginning stages, the mind is better at creating these new changes up here than the body is at performing them, because they do not, they're not compatible. They're not compatible. They're pushing and forcing against each other. So what we need to do is this. So in order to decrease the push against each other, in order to start to make it part of your new programming, this is going to be one of the easiest things, maybe not easiest, but simplest things that you can do, okay? Change how you react to things, okay? This is interesting, okay? The bigger you react, you create this domino effect. So who's infamous for overreacting or having really big reactions, or one thing goes wrong and it can affect your whole day? One of those things. So if you have these big reactions, whether it's physically or it's hidden up here, right, hidden in our mind, what that tells our body is that we need to pay more attention to what that is. That's causing me stress. I need to go analyze it. I need to look at the cause, right? That's why if you've ever screwed up and you feel really bad about it, that's why you start to hyper focus on it. Have you ever done that before? Like you play it over and over and over in your head, right? That's what our brain does. We say, oh, there was a trigger, there was a stress. Let me look at it and see what it was so I can be safe from it. But we don't need to do that. What ends up happening is now that we've given this way more attention than we need to, okay? That negative emotion that triggered this in the beginning, what our brain does, it's going to go all into our memory bank. It's going to say, this time, this time, this time, and this time, I felt this way too. And then you're going to subconsciously or consciously remember all those times you felt that same emotion. And then it's all going to flood at once. And you're going to feel completely overwhelmed by this big emotion. Right? That's why you ever had one of those days where something small happened, but it completely set you off. Someone asked, are you okay? And then you burst in tears. We've all been there. That's the worst thing. If I'm about to cry, don't ask me if I'm okay. It's game over, right? Something like really small bugged you, and then it totally like disproportionately ruined your day, or just had a very weird emotional response you couldn't explain. It's because your brain is recognizing all the other experiences, whether they're really traumatic or they're tragedies or they're just little inconveniences that have happened. They are all combining together. That is why when you feel like quitting this journey, you really feel like quitting this journey. Even if it's just for a second, it's kind of overwhelming how powerful that urge to kind of just say, screw it is, or I'll start next Monday, or I already screwed up, I'll just go crazy now anyway and make up for it tomorrow. Because it's all on you at once. So you've had this negative emotion, you've reacted to it, you've had a really big reaction to it. Because we've overreacted, we've now put attention on it. Now we're remembering all the other times we felt that way. And all that is doing is going to make you hold that emotion for longer, right? Whereas you could have gotten it over it in 30 minutes, right? Now it's been 2-3 days, right? And this is what your mood looks like. If someone says, what's wrong? You look sad. You're like, oh, something happened 2 days ago. It just put me off, right? And then if we hold it and we keep those overreactions, then months are going to pass by and someone's going to be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so sad? Right? You're going to be like, oh, this thing happened to me 3 months ago. And now that goes from just being your mood to being your temperament. And then lots of months, years pass by. Someone asks, why are you so sad? Why are you so negative? Why are you so bitter? You say, oh, this thing happened to me years ago. Well, now that's your personality. Now it's become your personality. And that is how this spirals out of control. If you have personality traits that you're not a fan of, it's because in that emotion, it's tied to many unpleasant experiences that still trigger you to have a big reaction. And now you've reacted that way so many times that it's become part of who you are. And the good news is you built that so we can build something new as well. So that's the good news, right? So does anybody know those people? Anybody know like really bitter, really negative, really toxic, right? We're not born that way. We're not little negative babies, right? We're not. What happens? Life happens. Life happens. And how we react and interpret it again and again and again and again and again and again and again is what builds our personality. At first, it's just your mood. It threw you off. Then you sit in it. It becomes your temperament and how you act. And then it becomes part of who you are, which is very hard to separate at that point. So be very careful, ladies, with how you react to disappointment along your weight loss journey. If you feed it, if you respond to it, you are reassuring yourself, you're reassuring that the next time it happens, you will feel even more awful. And it will happen again. That's the name of the game, right? So if you react big to it and you respond to it, right? You feed into it, right? So, you know, you can have a reaction like, oh, why did I do that, right? But then you got to stop it there. If you respond to it like, oh, I'm stupid, I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that? You know, I feel useless. This is too hard. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I'll start next Monday. Whatever the continued spiraled thoughts are, where we're responding and giving attention to our reaction, that's where you have control. Because sometimes we don't have control over reactions, right? Sometimes they are automatic or the emotion is just too powerful, but you cannot prove that emotion right. The reaction is only right when you start talking about why it's right. Doesn't that make sense? So think about the last time you were upset with yourself about doing something or eating something or skipping a workout. Think about the last time. Okay? How did you react? Probably a little upset. A lot upset or a little upset, depending on how far in your journey you are. And then what happened afterwards? What did you say to yourself afterwards? Did you catch yourself and say, it's okay, I'll do better next time, and then move on? Or did you spend the whole day wallowing in self-pity, feeling so sad, feeling gross, feeling fat, thinking you're never going to get there, right? And that's just your mood, right? Put you in a bad mood. But if that happens every single time you slip up on this journey, you will feel like crap every time you mess up. And then it will build, it will build, it will build until one day you will look at the whole journey as a slip up. And you will not enjoy any of it. And you will be the negative person. You will be the person always expecting yourself to fail. You will be the person that puts everybody down in the group and everybody around you. Because, oh, be careful. Oh, don't dream too big. Right? Be realistic. You don't want to be that person, ladies. So, what I want you to take away from this, okay? What we are all trying to do here is create healthy habits. And habits are when your body does it without your mind giving it much effort or thought. So does that sound like it happens overnight, ladies? Running on autopilot with a healthy habit takes time. So give yourself time. Give yourself permission to practice in the meantime, okay? And also please pay attention to how you are responding and if you are feeding into your failures. Are you feeding your failures? I guarantee you are in some way. Do not beat yourself up because you are strengthening that computer program that you already have to fight so hard to reprogram. Like you really, really are. So watch your reactions, catch it, move on. You can feel upset, you can feel bad. These negative emotions will be attached to these experiences because we're thinking in the past. Our brain will always bring us back to the past. But if you want real change in the future, if you want real new habits that stick for good, it's all about how you are responding. It's not about finding the perfect habit. It's not like this habit didn't stick because it was not good for me or didn't work with me. That's not it. It's this habit didn't stick because of how you were viewing it and responding to it. You were spiraling. You were putting another notch closer to that emotion becoming part of who you are and your personality. Scary stuff. It really makes you snap out of it very quick when you look at it like that. You don't want to be that person. And it's very simple. It just starts with to check how you're responding, and it's not going to be perfect and you're not going to catch it every time, but I promise just catch it once, and it will make things so much easier, so much less heavy. And then you can catch it a second time, and then you're more likely to catch it a third time. And then you plow through things, and then you're always in a good mood. Then your temperament is always positive, you're always stable. People aren't on eggshells around you wondering what they're going to say, and you're going to snap. And then everybody loves your personality because you always look on the bright side. You're always solution oriented. Things can't get you down. Things don't throw you off. You're the master of your own mind. Things that happen cannot control how you feel about yourself. You control how you feel about yourself. You do. Stop giving external things the power to change your internal state. Now, your environment is very important on your constant internal state, but the unpredictable environment, the things that we can't always plan for, that is the thing that you need to be protecting yourself against, because that's what can really shake your internal environment. Those big things, right? And it can be tragedies and trauma, or it can be, oh man, I ate an extra piece of cake again, right? It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. And if you can't do it with the big things, start with the small things and catch your reactions. Every time you feel bad next time, just say, I'm not going to feed into feeling that way anymore. There's no reason to feed into that. Whether it is justified or not, feeling it for too long, or talking about feeling it, justifying why you're feeling it. You can feel whatever you want, ladies. I'm not saying, this is off limits and this is off limits. Feel what you want, but stop justifying why you feel it with other thoughts after the fact of your initial reaction. That is the only way you will get to healthy habits. That is the only way you will make it all the way there, where choosing a salad over French fries is as easy as brushing your teeth. It is possible. It is so possible. Just takes time. Use your time wisely and stop using it to reinforce why you should feel those bad things.